Today, we're going to walk through a scenario that, frankly, everyone hopes stays hypothetical, but it's one that military strategists are constantly thinking about. We're going to break down, in a very real way, what the first 24 hours of a war between the United States and Iran might actually look like. So let's get into it.
So this is the big question, isn't it? What really happens when the diplomacy fails and the shooting starts? We're not talking about a Hollywood action movie here. We're talking about a chain of events that is grounded in actual military capabilities and geopolitical realities.
And yeah, this quote really sums it up perfectly. We're peeling back all the spectacle to get to the cold, hard mechanics of how a modern conflict like this would kick off. We're looking at the decisions, the initial targets, and, most importantly, the immediate, cascading consequences.
Okay, so to make sense of this, we're going to follow a very strict timeline. Think of it as a ticking clock that starts at hour zero. We'll go from the order to attack to the first wave, Iran's inevitable retaliation, and then see how fast this thing explodes into a global problem. Let's start right at the beginning, the point of no return.
You know, every war, no matter how big, starts with a single moment. It's a single decision where all other options are taken off the table and an irreversible path is chosen. This is that moment.
So picture this. The clock strikes midnight. A political ultimatum has just expired, and the intelligence is crystal clear. Iran is not backing down. In that moment, the order is given. Execute strike package. And here's the thing you have to understand. Once that order goes out, there is no hitting the undo button. There's no calling it back. The first domino has just been pushed over.
All right, so the very first phase of the U.S. strategy is designed to be completely overwhelming. The goal isn't just to blow stuff up. No, it's way more strategic. The idea is to put your enemy into a state of total paralysis, to make it so they can't see, can't communicate, and can't effectively fight.
And just 1 hour in, it begins. And we're not talking about a small skirmish. This is a massive, perfectly coordinated assault. We're talking hundreds of Tomahawk cruise missiles launched from ships and submarines, flying low to avoid detection. At the same time, B-2 stealth bombers, basically invisible to radar, are hitting their marks. And the targets are very specific. Take out Iran's eyes and ears, all its radar and air defenses, along with their biggest weapons and most sensitive nuclear sites. The goal is simple: make them blind and paralyzed. Just 2 hours later, the effects of that first wave are being felt all across Iran. It's not just military sites. Key infrastructure starts to fail. The lights go out in major cities. The internet, which is vital for everything, is either completely down or so restricted it's useless. This absolutely wrecks military command and control, but it also sparks widespread confusion and panic among regular people. The chaos is beginning.
But make no mistake, Iran is not just going to sit there and take this. Their entire military strategy is built around expecting an attack like this, and their response is designed to be fast and hard. The plan is to immediately make the U.S. pay a price by making the conflict much, much bigger. Let's see how they do it.
Only 5 hours into the conflict, Iran hits back, and their choice of targets is incredibly strategic. They're not just aiming at U.S. forces. By launching attacks on key American allies like Israel and major oil producers like Saudi Arabia, Iran instantly changes the game. And just like that, it's not a U.S.-Iran fight anymore, it's a full-blown regional war. They use everything they've got: ballistic missiles, swarms of drones, trying to overwhelm defenses, and it's just inevitable. Some of them get through. We now have confirmed casualties on multiple sides.
And this is the moment where the conflict stops being just over there. The actions taken in these first few hours start sending shockwaves across the entire planet, and they hit the foundation of the world economy where it hurts.
At the 8-hour mark, Iran plays its ace. It unleashes its most powerful weapon, and it's not a missile, it's geography. They make a move to effectively shut down the Straits of Hormuz, that narrow little choke point that a huge chunk of the world's daily oil supply has to travel through.
And their strategy here is clever, in a way. It's asymmetric. See, they don't have to sink the entire U.S. Navy to win here. They just have to make that waterway an active, undeniable war zone. They'll start by laying sea mines in the shipping lanes. They'll use their fast attack boats to harass and intimidate giant oil tankers. They'll fire on any military ships they see. The goal is to make the risk so high that nobody dares to sail through. And it works. Commercial traffic just grinds to a halt.
And the result of that? Well, it's immediate, and it's totally predictable. The price of oil doesn't just go up a little bit, it spikes violently. Global energy markets are thrown into absolute turmoil because a vital artery of the world economy has just been clamped shut, and everyone everywhere is about to feel that.
By midday on day one, the financial panic has gone global. Stock markets from Tokyo to London to New York are just a sea of red. That level of uncertainty triggers a massive sell-off. At the same time, you've got people watching the news, seeing what's happening, and they start panic buying gas and other essentials, terrified of shortages. So the key takeaway here is that in just 12 hours, this has become everyone's problem.
As the day drags on, the battlefield just keeps getting bigger and messier. Iran activates its entire network of allies and proxies across the Middle East. Suddenly, this isn't just a fight happening inside Iran's borders, it's a multi-front war. Hezbollah in Lebanon starts launching rockets. Militias in Iraq and Syria start attacking U.S. bases. The whole conflict becomes decentralized, which is a strategic nightmare for military planners. U.S. forces are now stretched incredibly thin, trying to deal with threats coming from all directions.
So as we reach the end of that first brutal 24-hour cycle, we can finally step back and just try to process the catastrophic damage. But it is so important to understand this. This is not the end of the war. It's barely the end of the beginning.
So let's just recap day one. Inside Iran, hundreds of targets are destroyed, but significant casualties have been suffered on all sides. The global economy is wobbling, right on the edge of a major crisis. The war has exploded into a regional firestorm. And maybe most critically, neither the US nor Iran is showing any sign whatsoever of backing down. The momentum is pushing towards more fighting, not less.
And this, right here, is probably the most important takeaway from all of this. Day one isn't about who wins or loses. Nobody wins on day one. The first 24 hours are purely about survival. It's a brutal, chaotic exchange of blows to see who can take the first punch, who can absorb the chaos and still be standing and willing to fight on day two.
And that leaves us with a terrifying question as the sun comes up on the second day. Was all of that shock and awe enough to force one side to the table, or did it just light a fire that can no longer be controlled? The first 24 hours are over, and now the entire world has to hold its breath and see if this is about to become a long, devastating war.